Thank you for joining us for this. I'm super excited. So for those of you who don't know, just some quick introductions off the top. Stareable Fest is the premier annual indie TV and web series festival in the US, the new home for digital creative talent in the TV industry. We honor the year's best content and provide a space for the next generation of creators to connect with industry executives, grow their network, learn new skills, and build community. Stareable Fest is presented by Dell Technologies with NVIDIA and Intel, making workstation and monitor solutions purpose-built for creators like you. Stareable Fest LA is held in partnership with XRM Media Studios, which is the incredible venue that we're at today. This is our Dell Creator Workshop, Unreal Engine for filmmakers. I think this is going to be a super exciting workshop. Our speaker does some really incredibly fascinating things with Unreal and Dell. Azra Alkan is a California-based Unreal Engine artist, visual effects compositor, and a filmmaker. She's been predominantly using traditional tools such as Nuke, Maya, Houdini to work in the film industry for over 10 years. After being selected to Epic Games' Unreal Engine Fellowship in 2019, she's been trying to unlock new ways that bring power to the traditional VFX pipeline with the addition of real-time tools. New technology often creates confusion and feels intimidating, but Azra believes in democratizing knowledge and starting with small steps to understand and apply new tools, a play and experiment approach that gets you to results rather than perfectionism. Please join me in giving a warm round of applause to Azra.
Thank you so much for being here. How many of you are filmmakers here? Everybody. So I'm assuming this is going to be interesting for you because this is a tool, Unreal Engine and virtual production in general, is something that brings you power and unlocks new ways to tell stories. And unlike any other 3D softwares, I find that it's very user-friendly. And I heard even before coming over here, I had a talk with Ellie, and the common consensus is that it's really scary, but I can guarantee you that after 1 hour in the Unreal Engine tutorials, there's millions out there, then you can feel comfortable enough to start creating your own world and maybe start pre-visualization for your next project, or get inspired for some storytelling, use the volumes and all that. So we're gonna start with what Unreal Engine is most known for in the film industry, which is virtual production. We all know Mandalorian, it's the talk of the town that they shot their movies or TV shows now using these LED screens, just like the one behind us right now or in front of you. And even sometimes having the ground or the tops being covered or being in a circle like a pizza slice, and using this to shoot their movies instead of being on location. So what is virtual production is the seamlessly combining physical and virtual, 3D aspects of a software together. So instead of me being in Sahara Desert or Middle East or in Hong Kong, I could have the LED screens working with me. If I'm shooting a car commercial or a motorcycle commercial, then I have the added benefit of the location lighting and the reflections and everything that coming through from the environment that I create. But that's not even all. As a person who's doing visual effects, I would be, or someone like me would be sitting with the director, and you as the director, you could say, or the storyteller, I like the Hong Kong street, but could we add a little bit of a neon feeling? Could it be rainy? Could it be a different era? Could it be sunset right now? Yes, yes, and yes. And all of those questions can be answered and quickly be done on set for you, which saves you a lot of visualization cost in post as well. And while you're doing this, it works with, it speaks the Unreal Engine as we have the environments. It speaks to your camera, your lens, and everything in between if you have a mocap suit. So it works with the LED screens when your physical real-life camera, it could be an Alexa, Red, Blackmagic. When you're using the zoom, the lens, you're changing the location, you're panning the camera, Unreal Engine camera mimics the same exact things on your 3D background at the moment. So you're getting all the parallax you need, you're getting all the scene changes. If it's a storm and you're on top of supposedly a stage that is a ship, then you're getting to see all of the environment. As the camera turns, your virtual production set will turn. So LED screens are cool, we all know that. I'm fascinated by them, you're fascinated by them. But sometimes the downfall for indie filmmakers especially, and even if you're working at a big production studio right now, you're most likely working on other people's projects or in collaboration for when you have the budget to use the LED screens. But how can we unlock the power of real-time technology and virtual production if we want to do something ourselves, if we want to unlock our own creativity with a budget? Do you need LED screens every time to use all aspects of virtual production? No, you don't. LED screens is cool, but again, Unreal Engine works with using an iPad or anything that has a LiDAR scan option like your new iPhones, or even there's a way to connect your Oculus and all those things as a camera. You could walk in the world that you create, and you could basically be the camera guy as you have your Oculus on you, and explore the world, the location that you've created, and hit record, and basically, you know, create that handheld feel. And that's considered a part of virtual production, and it could be useful. Actors, you know, there's expensive mocap suits that you can use, or you can rent something that goes for $250 a day, and you could get all your animation to put it on your photorealistic character called Metahumans. So, but it's not even the only way to do it. And we're going to talk a little bit about what is more approachable for us as the indie filmmaker. I'm going to say all of us are here at some point in our lives are indie filmmakers or storytellers. So how can we unlock the power with just an iPad or an iPhone? Something that we all have reached for, or, you know, we can borrow from a friend. So on, you know, speaking of the affordable ways, we were just talking about that. So when you're traditionally shooting green screens, you don't even have to have now LED screens for this to work. You could have a green screen and use Unreal's real-time compositing features to have your 3D scene, and again, work with your camera and work with your actor within that 3D scene in real time, that it takes out the green screen or blue screen, what have you, in there. Facial link is another affordable way to start using virtual production, which is just using your iPhone and using an app to connect to the world you've created in Unreal Engine and speak to any character that you bring in. Unreal Engine has this amazing democratized approach to 3D and creating worlds. They are creating this thing called Metahumans. They're very, very photorealistic. They're already rigged to be animated, and you don't have to be an animator. You don't have to be a visual effects artist like me. You don't have to be anything else but a person with a story and an iPhone to start using this. And we're going to do a little bit of a demonstration, and we're going to get to the exciting, more fun part in a little bit. So when I was in 2019, a little bit of a backstory, doing the traditional visual effects, you know, we're all a little bit familiar with the pipeline, but for those who are not, it takes us usually anywhere between 1 month to sometimes a whole year to get something for the, you know, whatever the director wants for the visual effects, because there's a lot of people involved. It's costly and it's time costly for the most important part, especially for big budget movies. I've been working for around 10 years with blockbusters, some movies that you might have hated and you might have loved. I worked on most of them, but I worked them through the traditional filmmaking VFX pipeline in the studios. And like I said, the downfall of that is that the creativity gets stumped by the time restrictions for rendering. Even if you haven't touched anything visual effects software, you all know that rendering takes a long time. So real-time technology kind of unlocks that thing, that it combines the game engine technology where you all played a video game or saw someone playing a video game. It's real time. But the downfall of that before was that it wasn't cinematic and it wasn't photorealistic enough. The assets that you see for the visuals for the video games, they were more cartoonish, more stylized, so that they can accompany and accomplish that real-time feedback for you without a render time. So now, in the last few years, Epic Games and other companies, it's not just Epic Games, but they're the ones that are on top of it right now, pushing it with their production with Filmmakers. They're making this where you don't get to see these amazing realism just in the cinematics part of the games or in movies, but you actually get to see it on location right away with something that you download for free. So if you don't have Unreal Engine at home on your computer, please go home tonight or sometime this week and download it, because it's mind-blowing to me that this technology is free and it's for us to use. So it's in 2019, Epic Games reached out to me as a visual effects artist in one of the most known studios doing Marvel movies. They said, you know what, we're doing this fellowship and we're collecting all these artists to come see what they can actually achieve with their skill set on the engine. And at first, everybody at work said, you know what, you don't even do 3D, you're just a compositor, why are you even gonna go? 6 weeks, we need you for the movie, is this really gonna be useful? And I said, okay, I'm gonna go. You can fire me, but we can talk about that later. And it turns out it's one of the best decisions that I've ever made, because during the fellowship, we were supposed to learn everything from the beginning. In a matter of few weeks, we were supposed to create this whole one big short movie for them. And there was a festival. And I've never really delved into and flexed those muscles as a creator to make my own story just on my own, make my own previews, make my own storyboard, make my own direction of photography, make my own texture, make my own lighting, make my own animation. But how could I have done such a thing if I haven't really had any experience with most of these things? Or if I did, but it was someone else's project. So Unreal really unlocked that power for me to go do whatever I want to do without having to worry about all the technical aspects, because everything was super user-friendly. I really started with this tutorial called My First Hour in Unreal. And within an hour, I was building levels. What we call levels are worlds and locations. So this is something really powerful, but it's easy to use, unlike the main belief. In the beginning, it can seem scary, but seriously dive into it for an hour, go home this week and try it out for yourself if you have any interest in storytelling. After I've done the fellowship, I felt the most creative in my life that I ever felt, because, like I said, I was stepping into these areas that my normal, usual work routine wouldn't let me to take charge in. And in last year, a creator from Dell that works with Dell reached out to me. He heard my name from one of the people who went into the fellowship as well. And mind you, the filmmakers who went into the fellowship and won the film festival were the ones who never even worked in visual effects. They were producers, they were screenwriters, they were directors. One of them was an editor, one of them was me. So 90% of us who won the festival and got into the festival, who got to show in the screening with their Unreal Engine films, has never touched any game engine, has never touched a 3D program. So this is why I know with confidence, if you've never touched it, if I could do it, you could do it. So this is the short movie that Dal has reached out for me about doing. This was something that very indie, low budget. They didn't even shoot it for having visual effects in mind. They had this idea as an afterthought, thinking, you know what? Why don't we use this challenge as a way to kind of create some environments for us in Unreal Engine? So I'm going to show you a few scenes that we've done in this movie. I'm going to move back and forth with the computer because, you know, I can't be separated from it for a long time. So this short movie was about this guy walking around on this exhausted resources Earth, and he's looking for a glimmer of hope to make Earth green again. And I guess it's invested by aliens, and there's a lot of dead aliens around and spaceships and a whole bunch of desert. So we're going to see some scenes from there. This is our live action character that we created in Unreal Engine to work with us. This is one of the Unreal Engine shots. Well, could it get more photorealistic than this? Heck yeah, it can. This was the director's choice to make it more retro, sci-fi. But some of these elements that you're seeing here, thinking that it's footage, obviously aside from the stylized alien shot, it's not. It's actually done in Unreal. And we're going to kind of walk around in that project a little bit just to show you how cool it can be, location scouting in Unreal Engine. So mind you, this was done in an older version of Unreal Engine back in the day. And now there's version 5, which might mean a lot to you, might not mean a lot to you. But we're going to get in there and talk about why version 5 unlocks even more of this optimized and quality, high quality cinematic power for us. So we have this scene around here. This is literally from the movie that I worked with the director. I have created this location. I've created all of these landscape, vast, the skies. I've brought in mega scans that are free for me to use. They are LiDAR data, 360 Photoshop assets. Doesn't get any real more than those assets. There's some dead aliens like you see. I put, as a filmmaker almost, I put these, you know, reflection cards in there to shoot. I pulled some game assets because I have no idea about modeling. I've never done it in my entire life. I do not wish to do it. I use the Epic Games Marketplace to buy these assets for $1. There's a lot of free stuff in the marketplace, and there's a ton of high quality assets that you could just buy literally dirt cheap. And if you're interested, you can even go there and, you know, add more texture to it in the material editor and even paint it more retro, more your style, if you want to go a little bit more stylized about it. So this is our guy, Samson, and this was kind of before Metahumans. We contacted a creator to kind of help us building this guy that looks like the movie guy. But it was incredible how many cinematic shots we got just with this character, and obviously we weren't able to get super close to him because, again, this was before Metahumans, and we didn't use Metahumans in this show. But it's really cool that I could work with the director in real time in this vast environment and add whatever I want and get back to it and put a real-time camera. And trust me, the director, we had Zoom calls weekly. He changed his mind a lot. So it was really nice for me to be able to get him on the call and go ahead and in real time have all of these actors play out for me. It's in real time, and like it's very high quality. And maybe he says, you know what, put another spaceship here. Make this a sunset. Put the camera over here. Put a little bit of a handheld shake over there. So this was really cool, and it unlocked a lot of power to cut that unnecessary back and forth with the creator. All right, we're going to go back to our presentation because now we're going to talk about an even cooler version of Unreal Engine. So this was 4, and this was a while back. So now we have this really cool new version that just came out, and they keep working on it, and it's going to even get to better places, and I am super excited. A lot of people ask me when they interview me about Unreal, they say, you know what, do you think Unreal Engine is the future of filmmaking? And I say, no, I don't think it's the future, I think it's here right now. So Unreal Engine 5 is very, very easy to start building your world by literally going into the bridge, this asset library that has thousands of photo scan, LiDAR, geometry, and textures ready for you for free to use. It's as simple as sign into your account, drag and drop from the thousands of assets in the library to your scene. And I was preparing a little something, just, you know, it's such a fun program that I was in preparation for this yesterday. I was just kind of building a bunch of stuff, and this took me about 3 minutes to build. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna start the fun part of our speech, because this is now becoming a place where you guys can kind of come and start building stuff with me. So I've built this tiny little set over here. It's not complete, it doesn't have to be complete. I'm not gonna put anything down there. And it works for where my camera is right now. But I want to show you how cool and easy it is just with a click of a button to bring these photorealistic assets. So I'm going to get out of the game view, and right here you have the marketplace where thousands of creators like you have put their work up for you to use for free or to buy it for a very reasonable amount. Quixel Bridge, however, again, the library that I was talking to you about, it's thousands of assets. Look in here, medieval village, cyberpunk environments, scary restrooms, sci-fi landscape, tundras is one of my favorites, ground cover, I can't read that word, abattoir, warehouse, concrete, buildings, glad I can get some brownie points with my accent at least. Vehicle mud splashes, metals, grass. I mean, it's endless. And we're gonna see just how easy it is. What do you guys want to put in here? Do you want to put a mountain? Do you want to put a lamp? Volunteer, someone? Someone want to come up here and help me put something in here? Barrels. No? Barrels? Okay. These are my least favorite assets. So. I just don't like how they look. I mean, they've scanned something that is not very pretty, but you know what? What's your name? Yes. Rennie. Okay, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do this for you, Rennie. Don't blame me if it doesn't look very nice. Oh, these ones? Those are even worse, Rennie. What are you doing? All right, but look at this. So now this is downloading this 8K asset for me as a Nanite. So the new technology that Unreal Engine 5 has, and it's not going to mean a lot to you right now, but if you have time, go home and read about it a little bit. Nanites is the type of technology that lets you bring in thousands of photorealistic geometry in one scene and still not lose anything from the quality and work in real time. Before Nanites, it was so that if you brought a lot of photorealistic stuff in your scene, it would get bogged down and you would have to have a quite powerful computer. But now with Nanites, I'm going to show you something cool over here. I'm going to go into visualization mode and Nanite visualization and overview. It basically is a technology that virtually streams your geometry, not only your textures. So you can put a trillion, billion, bajillion trigonometry, triangles, and geometry in here, And you'll still be able to walk around in this world, and you're gonna be able to bring in, drag, and drop. Granted, this environment is not super big because, you know, I just put something really small over here, but again, this could be 1,000 times bigger. So I'm gonna go in and bring in something that I like for this time. Let's go to environments. Let's go, I'm gonna say massive, because I wanna bring in something massive. Let's see what they have under massive. All right, they have some massive Utah rocks, canyons. I'm gonna say, you know what? This canyon is kind of cool. I'm gonna bring it in here. And again, when it first comes, it's gonna look like a potato. Don't worry, it's rendering it. I'm gonna put it somewhere here. Make it a little bigger, because why not? It can handle it. And I'm gonna say, you know what, let me see. Bring it over here, turn it around. And all you need to do within that first hour that you're learning Unreal is just kind of to move around. And I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna put it over there and see how my atmospherics already are at work, because I put some fog in there. So I'm gonna say, this one is looking too red. Am I stuck with it just because it was shot this way in Utah and this is photorealistic like that? No, I'm just gonna go into the element editor and procedurally change whatever I want. I could make it blue and in real time. If this is a weird alien planet, it's gonna do it. But I'm just gonna make it a little bit less saturated maybe. A little bit more green, just to kind of fit the vibe we have over here. What about if, you know, we're on set and Remy here is our director and he says, you know, he's being difficult and he says, you know, I said that this was gonna be a daylight scene, but I want it to be a sunset scene. Okay, Remy, I got you. I'm gonna go into my directional light. And I'm gonna just, as simple as play around with my direction, just to see what's going on in here. And the whole scene is gonna be lit. Ooh, I kinda like that. It's giving us some atmosphere over there. What if I wanna make it a little bit more sunsetty? Oh, what if I wanna make it a little bit more crazy? Like, I could go into my atmosphere and I could kind of play around with the world real life physics. Scatter that in a different way, because maybe I'm creating a Mars scene, who knows? Make it a beautiful cotton candy sunset sky. Change the ray light. All of these, by the way, are real world physics, and it's working with that. So you can go ahead and change the real world physics to get something crazier, because this works with the Earth's atmosphere, but again, it allows you to create something for other than Earth's atmosphere, and you know, say that you're in Mars. And you could say, you know what, I kind of want to create this kind of a bluish bounce light in there. Woo, not that much. Start playing around with it. I'm going to leave it at 4. I'm going to go back to the sky atmosphere. Bring it back to a normal place. I keep misspelling this. I always do that. I like it. All right. So maybe I want to add some sort of a character light on my character, because we're going to start animating it. And this time I actually do need a person to volunteer and come up here. Not you, Remy. Okay, awesome. All right, so it's not a magic show, but it might blow your mind. Oh, awesome. All right, so the reason why I was holding on to my phone, not because I'm a millennial, but because we're going to use a tiny little app called Live Link Face. And this is going to allow, what's your name?
Bridget.
Bridget, nice to meet you. This app, I'm going to need you to take off your mask.
Okay.
And if you can come over here.
Okay.
And sit, get comfortable.
Okay.
This app that Bridget is using now is doing this. If you can hold the iPhone, Bridget.
Okay.
I'm going to show what's happening to them with the Metahuman. I seem to have, boom, okay. So this is the photorealistic characters that I was talking to you about. They have now an editor, and you can even go in there and adjust everything that you want about them. I went ahead and brought the, general one, but you can make him have blue eyes, you can make him have an older face, you can make him fatter, skinnier, whatever you need, shorter hair, different clothes. So what this iPhone app is going to do with Bridget is now it's going to scan her face just like this image, and it's going to connect it to this big dude we have on the scene. All right, let's go to the scene. And I'm going to put a camera here. Actually, without the camera, let's kind of do it over here for a second. Everyone can see him. Let me get a little bit more light for you. Let's make it 5, 6, 8. All right. So Bridget, move your face. I don't know if you can see yourself, but your character is moving. You could do some, oh yeah, Bridget is sending you guys kisses. So the cool part about this, what you could do with an iPhone, you could save it. And here we are. Thank you so much, Bridget.
Thank you.
I appreciate you volunteering. I'm approving all the claps. But what you could do, you could combine this with different animations. If you have a mocap suit, be my guest, record your face, or if you could just buy very cheap sensors to your hands, you can connect it to his body in a matter of seconds. Or, again, there's a free library for you to buy. This is an animation that I just did. And like you see, I can play it cinematically. I can link it to this camera that I created over here. And you know what I said? I'm going to make it a 35 millimeter. And I want to see all of the environment that I just created in the background, but I want him to have that animation. He's going to have that animation. And you could go as cinematic with it as you want. And right now, obviously, we didn't spend too much time with the lighting, but experiment with it. And you've unlocked yourself a tool for storytelling and, for your next project, to pitch it or to actually do it. Thank you very much. You've been amazing. And in the future, if you have any questions about Unreal, feel free to. I would love to help you out if I can in any way. But don't try to be perfect, and don't be intimidated just because you don't know everything about it. Nobody does. I don't. I've been working with it for 3 years. Every week there's a new version, and every week I have no idea again. So if I can do it, trust me, you can too. Thank you very much.